So the go live will like notify anybody who said they want to watch.
Okay.
So Audrey joined, but it says device is not connected. So there might be an issue with the mic or the camera.
Okay. They'll come in.
They'll come in, yeah.
Do I have time to step away for like 5 minutes and come back? Or would that not be?
What's that?
Do I have time to step away from the computer for like 5 minutes and then come back?
Sure.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, I'll remove you so that we don't see you or hear you, but I can still, like, I'll add you back later. Okay, when I see her sit down, I'll add her back, but I just removed her. And Audrey disappeared. She'll come back. Oh, she's popping back. There we go. Hello, Audrey. I can see you. Can you say something and I'll touch?
Yes, I am here. Took me a second, but I got it.
You're fine. All right. So, hi, my name is Liz. We're waiting for some people to join. Right now it says 0 viewers. So we'll wait a few minutes and I'll let you know when some people hop on here.
Now we can just start talking too, but
That's true.
I was gonna say, this saves, right? The whole video play back.
It'll be on my YouTube and it'll be saved on your Facebook where it's at.
Okay. Awesome. You're amazing.
I try.
But we're good.
Sometimes.
We're on.
Yes, we are live. People can hear us.
Okay.
And I will now remove the cover. And so now everybody can see us. I just like to prepare the people who are going to be on camera so that they're not just suddenly in everybody's face. So here we go. I'm going to remove it and say, hello. Hi. So I am Liz from Capricos Books. I am just here doing all the technical stuff. So I will probably mute myself for a majority of this and let Heather take it away and describe exactly what she is expecting.
Well, first of all, Liz is setting this up because I am ridiculous with technology and apparently being a parent too. Can you please? Okay, but I wanted to thank you again, Liz, for helping out with this or helping me out with this. Because as you can see, things are kind of falling apart around here. Anyway.
Nah, he's cool. Let him hang out.
Keisha had to step away for a second. We wanted to wish everybody a happy holidays. We wanted to introduce ourselves to the group. So, because you've seen us, we've been talking, we've been posting and sharing things, reading books, but we haven't actually like formally introduced all of us to the group. So I figured we could just go around and do that, like say who we are, what we write. Like, I mean, you can promo yourself right now if you want, go for it. And then after, we'll talk about some of the fun things that are coming up in Dystopian Inc. So let's see, where do we go? Do we lose somebody?
Coco.
Oh, okay. Not you. You're fine. Okay. I guess I could go first and we'll just like rotate around. Yeah.
I stepped away. I'll step away so you don't see me. And Coco left, but they're working on coming back right now. So I'll add them in a second when their camera comes back on. There we go.
Gotcha. All right. So I'm Heather Carson. I did not mean to start this group or do this group, but we are doing it. We are having fun. We love dystopian. We're gonna let Liz handle that, okay? All right. So I've written 2 young adults series. One is post-apocalyptic dystopian. It's Project Dystopian. The second is a dark fantasy dystopian, and it's a haunting dystopian tale. I even have them right here. Let's just like pull these books out. We got books. And I'm about to release a new series actually this week, book 1 in that new series, which will be a climate fiction dystopian. Still young adults. I like young adults. So that's me. And we're going to go clockwise, counterclockwise. Which way? Somebody raise a hand.
I can go. No problem. I'm Audrey. This is my book. It's called The Parlor. I have book 1 and 2 done in the series, and I'm working on book 3. It'll be published early next year. So I'm excited to have my first series complete. I'm also a mom of a very young one. I put her down for a nap. I was like, you're sitting in your crib. But I publish a book about once a year, but I'm excited. I'm sure Heather will mention it. later on. But this spring, we're going to be working on an anthology with a bunch of other authors. So I'm excited to work on that after I get this third book done. This book is definitely dystopian, speculative fiction, my first series. It's kind of like The Handmaid's Tale in reverse a little bit. So that's my first book. Who wants to go next?
I guess I'll go. My name's Krs Mcintyre. I am the author of the Eden Saga, which is Saving Eden, Finding Eden, and I also have a Alice in Wonderland retelling novel called Alice and the Voodoo Queen. And yeah, so I'm excited to be part of this group and connect with other people who love dystopian books. And I am planning to publish the third and final Eden book sometime next year, which will be Making Eden. So, no. Yes, Making Eden. Okay.
Dun, dun, dun.
All right, I'll go. I'm Katherine Jacques. I'm fairly new to pretty much all of this. I published my first book, The Gamble, in June. And the second book, The Choice, is actually coming out Tuesday. So this has all been a little crazy for me. I tend to publish or write more in the young adult genre, I guess, just because that's what I tend to read. I'm really a 14-year-old in a 37-year-old's body. And like a lot of the other people here, I'm also a parent of a 4.5-year-old and a 1-year-old.
Really fun.
Yeah, it is.
Avina, Jared.
Okay. My pen name is Coco Lorraine. I write horror and like dark fantasy with like dystopian twists, I guess you could say. I recently published my first book, Crab Hive. Can you see it? Yeah. My goal was to write a book before I turned 17, and I did it, so that was really exciting this year. And I just really enjoy being in this group. It's like a really great community, and you guys have like really helped with a lot of my questions, so that's cool.
I'm Jared K Chapman. I'm the new guy, and I wrote a book called To Have or Have Not. So it is a dystopian superhero fantasy thriller horror. It's very genre bending, but it does fit into dystopian because I have the oppressors who have superpowers, which is an interesting twist on that. I love this group. I've been involved since September. I wrote my book in September, or not wrote it. I published in September. And so I'm the new guy.
He is our guy. I had to keep saying, or stop saying ladies when you joined. So, I'm sorry, my brain's like here. Good. All right, so Dystopian Inc. So we have some things coming up. We have the anthology, which Audrey mentioned. We are going to we have an open call for submission right now. It'll be done February 15th. So get your stories in before then. There's information on the announcement section of the page, and it's all there. There's all the information there. And then and that one's actually going to be pretty neat. As for what's going on now is we're kicking off the 12 days of Christmas author takeover events. And so we're going to have not just us, all 6 of us are going to be running days through this event, but there's going to be 6 other authors, and some of them write dystopian, some don't. It's Christmas, we're opening up, everybody's going to have fun. They're going to be giveaways, fun, contests, live readings. You're going to get to know a lot of new authors, and we're hoping this will just be a really fun couple of weeks for everybody in the group. As for the group, we've been growing, I think we've been growing pretty well, but the engagement, like everything, we love it here. It's just so supportive, and everybody's like commenting, and they're very nice and stuff. And I can't think of what else to say. Somebody else talk about the group right now. I really am here. I swear. What does the group mean to you?
I think it's really hard to find groups that are focused on dystopian genre in general. I feel like there was like a little blip in when I was like in high school where dystopian was like everywhere, but now I feel like it's a lot harder to find. So it's cool that it's here as a resource for people who like that genre. Yeah.
It is. Actually, I've gotten a lot of feedback with people like on different platforms. They're like, oh, it's even TikTok's like crazy, but they're like, there's no focus on dystopian anywhere. And then we've all come across this. Jared, you had an issue. There's no podcast that had dystopian. There's not, it's like, yeah, I guess that's what we're doing. We're building a niche. I can spell it. I can't say
Niche.
There's so many
Like
words
quiche,
that I learned
but
reading
niche.
and not pronouncing wrong for my entire life. So. Yeah.
Wait, what?
Not just me. Ignore it.
Anybody else have anything to add about our group?
It's definitely
I
a
agree.
safe place.
Yeah.
Like the moderators are all very hands-on, and it's just like it's very safe, and everybody's just really friendly and nice to each other, and you don't see a whole lot of arguing or bullying anywhere.
Yeah,
Which is
and
surprisingly
do-
hard to find.
yeah, and when we do have like discussions that may have some kind of maybe argument in it, it never devolves into bullying or anything. We kind of are all trying to come from the same place, I feel like.
Right. Like, obviously, two humans might have two different opinions, and it's okay to argue those opinions. But in this group, those arguing opinions doesn't ever turn into like.
Oh, we lost Coco.
Yeah, it never turns into that. We don't like just boot
We
you
didn't
out.
do that. We didn't do that.
She said that.
I swear, she just disappeared. I swear. But when she pops back on, I'll add her.
Well, I'll go ahead and say what the group means to me. I love that it is authors and readers together because I think most authors, especially indie authors, are also readers. I feel like it's impossible to write if you're not a reader because you need to know what else is out there. And I love recommending other books. You know what I mean? Whether they're very well known or barely known. You know, people are like, "Oh, I'm looking for a specific kind of book." We have different topics of the month. So, like this month is dystopian sci-fi, which isn't something I've really dove a whole lot into. But it's nice just to see other people's recommendations into that category because dystopian is so broad and it can be either the main focus or a minor focus of a book. I just love going more into the genre because it is definitely my favorite, which is probably why I write mostly in that genre.
Yeah, me too. I always try to get away from dystopian, and then somehow, I mean, I even went dark fantasy. I was like, no, I'm gonna make it the end of the world with like a utopian twist. I'm stuck in it.
It seems like the elements of dystopia always find their way in somehow.
Yeah.
But I love it's interesting too how many people don't know what dystopia means.
Yes.
And so they're like, "Oh, you write dystopian fiction, what's that?" And I'm like,
I've heard
what do
so
you
many
mean, what's
people
that?
they don't know what dystopian is. I'm like, is it that like? I feel like people should know it because of the Hunger Games was so popular. Like people should know what dystopian means, but so many people don't. I don't know.
Yeah, between the Hunger Games and Divergent, which were both immensely popular, just in the last decade, they've been crazy popular. And people are like, I don't know what dystopia is. And I'm like, oh, well, it's like the world in the future and it's like in shambles and somehow it's like not a utopia.
Yeah. And it's so broad too. Like, I feel like a lot of stories from various genres can have dystopian elements. So I think that's fun. Like you can have a dystopian fantasy or like a dystopian sci-fi or dystopian like apocalypse, but it's whatever you kind of decide to do with it.
Or Jared's book where he literally just wrote about every genre ever in one book, which is really cool.
Jerry, because you say like, but the thing was with your book with the dystopia, because you had said like, well, it was just dystopia because of the overlords and stuff, but really it was a imagined future. What?
Oh yeah.
Or what, and that's what dystopia at its core is reimagining what could be based on, this isn't a continue. It's going to be a continuing argument I can see in our group, like what exactly is dystopia?
Yeah.
there's so many elements to it. I don't know. I love it. So, and I like that we just can talk about it and think, because that's what it is. It's like these books provoke a conversation constantly, and so you kind of need a group, I guess, to continue to discuss it.
And it's interesting how it's evolved through the years too. Like starting out with like H.G. Wells, and you've got like the book We and Brave New World, and those books that were talking about things that were going on in that author's world, but imagining the nth degree, like what the logical conclusion of these things that they saw as wrong would be, and then how that's evolved, like what Hunger Games and Divergent is. I'm wondering what that next dystopian kind of thing is going to be, because people keep fighting back and saying, well, that's not dystopian because of this and this, and I'm like, no, I think it's dystopian because of this. You know what I mean?
Well, I think, and that was the thing, because I don't know, maybe I'm weird. Maybe it's just because of my own writing. But like Hunger Games was like an ode to capitalism, you know, like when I saw, you know, certain things. Divergent, you know, I'd be hard pressed to find. There's got to be something. I've read the books, but it's been a long time.
Yeah.
But like even, I don't know, like sometimes it's like we don't see what the author was trying to do. Like even my last series, like I'm like, you know, I don't even care anymore. It is about virtual reality, and nobody has picked up on that yet, and it's driving me up the wall. But so I don't know. So I can see like still maybe, I don't know, maybe we do pick it apart too much. Oh my Lord. What'd you build?
I just read that the Matrix was a allegory for trans, and Keanu Reeves just commented like, I didn't know that, but that's super cool. And it's interesting, like you don't pick up on what the author was trying to throw down as like the allegory or what they're throwing down. If they're really good at it, people are going to look at that in schools later on and be like, what really was this about?
Right.
I think so much of it falls into the fact that, I mean, it is a subjective art form at the end of the day. Like, one person's going to say it's definitely this, one person's going to be like, are you insane? It's not that at all. And that's what art is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, good
Well,
point.
yeah, that's actually a really good point, because I remember when people I know read my book, they're like, oh, like you did such a good job hitting on this topic, and I'm like, I don't think I hit on that topic at all. Did I?
You know, people say like really interesting things about my book, and I'm like, I never noticed that before. Thanks.
I love when people get real deep into my book, and I'm like, oh, I just like thought it was fun. Like I didn't mean to be like so deep.
Yeah.
Did I do that with yours? Because every time, because your characters to me just seem like like I said, representation of like different like core characteristics of people, you know, like or moral values or something. And then it's like you're all, oh, they were. And I'm like,
Yeah, a little bit. Like I didn't pick up on that until you did my interview. But, yeah.
Well, yeah, and speaking of Keisha's interview, I mean, that's something cool that we do too, just to kind of open people's eyes up to new books, especially independent author books, is we all got a book of the month club. So all of our books were a part of a month, which we got to read. And right now it's The Gamble, which I am loving, by the way. I literally have to set myself limits or I get nothing else accomplished. I'm like, I'm only allowed to read 3 chapters today. The worst part, though, is I think about it all day long, and I'm like, what is going to happen next? So if you guys haven't started the Book of the Month Club, do it when you're free, because it consumes your life. But I think that's really cool, too, you know, because as a reader, I'm reading books that I never probably would have read otherwise, you know, because I just go into the Amazon search bar and I'm like, all right, top books for in dystopian or in young adult, and you know they're going to show me some really popular ones that everyone has read. But what's really cool about this group is you get to be the one recommending things, because you know books that others don't.
Right. I think that's cool about the indie community in general. It's going to sound weird the way I say this, and I'm not meaning to, but I'm kind of like an indie snob now. I'm like, I like to read indie. I like to like real artists, not real. I'm not saying that like traditionally published books are different or something. It's just that we don't get the exposure. So when you like come across like a gem, like, you know, you're like, like I love this. I want to share it with the world. And it's cool because people haven't heard it. Like, so
yeah. I'm slowly growing my indie book library. Like I have about probably like 8 or 9 indie books physically now, just because I like to have them there. I don't know. So.
Not all of yours. So I have those.
Oh yeah.
My Kindle is full of them. I never used to read on Kindle until I started writing and reading all these other indies.
Yeah.
I never started reading on Kindles until I had children, and then like books get demolished so easily that I have it now on my Kindle, and I have it, the protection, like 3 inches of protection on every side, so that whenever I'm reading and she comes and just smacks it out of my hand, I can still keep reading afterwards.
Oh,
I had to get a Kindle because, well, I downloaded it on my iPad, but
I use my phone.
like it got so expensive to buy paperbacks like every 3 or 4 days when I was ready for a new book. I was like, yeah, my budget can't keep handling this. I need some ebooks.
And then when you buy a book, you don't want to get rid of it ever. And then it's
Yeah.
like, you can't just have 5 million books. This like we move every 3 years, so.
Oh yeah, I've got 10-foot bookshelves in my den, and I still have more books that I don't have room for. It's really bad.
Go get it. Go get me the pace and I'll fix it.
I do a lot of Audible to get the books
Yeah.
that I want to be able to consume them, because I find that I don't have much time to actually sit down and read, but I can listen while I'm doing something else.
That's been me lately. And it's hard with indie books because a lot of them aren't available on Audible, but most of my reading lately that I actually complete is on Audible just because of time limits, and I can do it while doing something else that I need to get done. So.
Well, I know Project Dandelion is on Audible, and I'm currently putting The Parlor on Audible. Is anybody else working on an audiobook?
I don't even know how to.
My Eden Saga is on Audible actually. So Saving Eden and Finding Eden just got approved.
Did it? Yay. Oh, sorry.
Yes.
I'm actually working on turning my book into a radio play that'll be a different format than what the novel is, because I want to hold on to my novel and try to get Will Wheaton to do it at some point. And so I have a buddy who has a studio, and he really wants to get actors in and do it. So I'm writing it as a radio play.
Well, that is just awesome. Congratulations. That should be super different and fun.
Right? I thought it'd be neat.
Oh, that lag. Okay, so on the topic of dystopian fiction, what makes dystopian fiction so great, do you think?
For me, it's like the political aspect to it, the way they use metaphors and allegories to parallel to the political issues that we're dealing with currently. I just find it takes a lot of brilliance to write something like that.
I like how dystopian can take one aspect, kind of like she was saying, and just take it to the extreme. It puts a microscope or something on a topic, like how the Ugly series focuses on beauty, or how Durian focuses on the topic of love, and the Hunger Games focuses on capitalism, and it just explores that through a fictional world. So, yeah.
No, I agree. I've always told, a glass of water, will help you, but a jug of water might kill you. You can drown in a teaspoon of water. So it's I like seeing that extremism and why we have boundaries. Because I think sometimes people forget about why boundaries are important. Not in every aspect. Some things don't need boundaries, so don't take that the wrong way. But for example, in my book, I told you it was a flip-flop of the Handmaid's Tale. In this one, the male population has depleted so much, the females have kind of taken over, and they're kind of doing a genocide on the males. And so it's kind of okay, what happens if that's taken to the extreme? So that's what I like about it, is seeing yeah, maybe we should make things more fair, more right. I think, it opens up your eyes a lot to, like Coco said, current events and, current political affairs.
I think a lot of people look at these books as negative and pessimistic, and I don't think that's the right way to look at it. I don't see these things as being inevitable. They're ideas of where we could go, and we don't want to necessarily go there. And so it's giving us tools to think about, and it's thought experiments on how we don't get to these places, or what we can do to get out of it if we do get there.
Yeah. Are there any dystopians that you guys feel are could actually happen, or that just felt real while you were reading them?
Terrible.
1984.
Straight up, Parable of the Sower. When I read that, I think earlier just this summer, it was frightening, especially Parable of the Talents, the sequel to it. I was like, I'm literally like, we are on the verge of this.
Oh, yeah, I just finished Parable of the Sower, and I was like losing my mind.
I still need to read that. I've read her Kindred book, but yeah, I have it, but I haven't read it yet. I need more time. I'll probably get on Audible. But I would say one that felt very real to me was The Handmaid's Tale. Like, it just felt like it could easily happen tomorrow the whole time. Yeah.
I've been
I've actually read The Handmaid's Tale. I've watched the show, and I'm addicted. The book feels like it's going to be too dark for me to handle. I feel like I need to be in the right place to read the book. But just even on the show, kind of watching how it happens. Like, it seems so normal, and then all of a sudden it's very not normal.
I've been studying.
That's another thing I liked about the Unwind series. Like, it shows how something horrific can be normalized to where people don't even think about it. And it's just like, this is normal everyday life. So I don't know.
Oh, I still have yet to get to that one. Every time you recommend it, like, goes up higher.
I know. Just, I push books on everyone. I'm like, everyone should read this. And some people don't even like it to read it. Oh, oh well.
Yeah. I guess, I don't know. So I think I like a lot of like natural elements. So I like climate fiction. I like even the post-apocalyptic when I do like prepper based stuff, it's more like natural world stuff. So like what I'm writing now with this climate fiction, like rising sea levels and stuff. This is kind of neat. But like the Parable of the Sower was awful because first of all, I lived in Southern California where there's like drought like the entire time. And they're like, she exploited that on top of everything else. And I was like, yeah, no. Like, and then so it did seem very like parallel to what could be coming. I haven't read the second one yet. Where'd you go? Oh, it's really hard to like see down here. I keep like looking at people's expressions and I can't see your faces. I don't know if anyone's smiling. Wear masks in the store and you like tell a joke and nobody we don't know.
Yeah. Are you smiling? Smile with your eyes. Smile with your eyes.
I know. I keep with the mask on, like smiling at people like they can't see me.
The part was at Liz's. Liz had a book event, and I went there and sold some books there. But I actually started telling people as they were walking by. I was like, I'm smiling at you through my mask because you smile at people, and like so they want to come over and say hi. And it was just a mask. Yeah. We should do a dystopian mask book or about the mask.
Oh, I'm sure one is coming. I'm sure somebody's working on it.
Yeah.
The next thing's pandemic fiction. We'll see all these pandemic books coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder what this is inspired by.
I don't think anyone's going to be ready to read it for at least a decade, though. I don't want to read about a pandemic right now.
No, but I'm sorry. I was going to say the one thing we kept bringing up too was with the group, like being, I guess, a safe place to discuss ideas. That's the other thing is dystopian does get very political. It gets very heated. Like we address certain issues, and then somebody might feel a certain way about this or that. And so, like I said, like I think we've built a very like safe environment to just, everybody's accepted they can talk what they want to say without being too rude. And then. And it does, but it's like, it's going to get, I keep wondering about that. Like, when's it going to come that someone's really, really against something?
Comment that comes and be like, nope, too rude, delete.
You always have to keep one person like that.
But no, but then I was thinking too, like with dystopian books, like they do get a rise, like especially when we're thinking the classics and everything, like 1984, people still, are we in an Orwellian society now? Are we not? Like people get very heated about it, and they've got, I guess, I don't know, being told that the world is different than what you assume it is, like can be difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just go on.
Oh, I was going to say it can, but what I love about dystopian fiction is it makes you look at something from another point of view. You know what I mean? Like, I grew up in Greene County, Indiana. It is probably 99.9% Caucasian. Luckily, my family was big into traveling, so I've gone all over the world. And I've been introduced to different ethnicities and different cultures, but I probably got the most exposure through the books I was reading. And I just feel like it helps you see things from another point of view than just farm girl in the middle of podunk nowhere. Because that's all I had experience other than my traveling. And so I think that books can really take you places and really open your eyes to issues that are going on in other people's feelings. And that's what I love about books in general, and especially dystopian books, because they hit those topics, they hit them hard, and you really get enveloped by them.
Yeah.
Big what ifs.
And that's another thing that I think like indie books are important too, because it allows anyone to have a platform to tell those stories and without like gatekeepers saying, you can say this, you can't say that.
Yeah, what I'm thinking right now.
Yeah.
What'd you say, Heather? Sorry, you got cut off there.
Oh, I just said like what's trending right now. We only publish what's trending or what we think will sell. And it's like, but no, I mean, you're missing out on what people want to read. So
Well, and that's a good point too. People will ask me like, why did you independent publish? Why didn't you like hold out and try to get traditionally published? I'm like, well, honestly, I didn't want to change anything about my book. If I'm being completely honest, because that is something that I think a lot of people don't realize. Traditional publishers have the power to say like, oh, this was too much, or oh, this was too little, or oh, there's not enough sex, or oh, there's too much violence, and that kind of, I feel like I've never talked to a traditional published author. I'm not that cool. But I'm curious how much their book changed, because when I talked to someone, it seemed like it would change a lot. I'm like, I'm just not into that. I want it to be my book.
can you guys hear my child throwing a tantrum stomping above me?
I know. Yeah,
Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry. I am not professional at any of this, I swear.
I thought that was coming from my house, so no worries.
I'm gonna be
I
right.
didn't even
Guys, take it over. Keep talking. I gotta go with the handle.
Oh, someone has time out in their future.
yeah.
So does anybody look at, I know, Coco, you were talking about looking at politics and stuff of today, and a lot of these books writing about that. I'm currently looking at cults, and I'm actually, my new series, I'm writing about a cult within this world. And it's interesting how I see these cults, these microcosms of dystopia. And there's this one in New Zealand called Gloryville that I want to start looking at because I just read about it. But it seems like it's Handmaid's Tale is going to happen with this.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Cults are always interesting. Like I've watched documentaries about some of them, and it's just like, how do you get to the point where sometimes it's sad. It is dystopian because it is a form of like controlling people. Like especially when you think about, I forget the name of it, but I remember because it actually started in my city, that Indianapolis. The guy who had the cult, and then he took everyone to an island and made them all drink like poison. Have you? Sorry, what did you say?
Was it Jonestown?
It might have been, yes. I just couldn't remember the name. Yeah, but just the fact that that's it where I live was kind of wild when I read that story. So, yeah.
It was the Kool-Aid one, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Doctor, or wait, didn't we all like sing that song, like the Dr. Jones song? How old am I?
I mean, they mentioned it in one of the seasons of American Horror Story, so you're not that old.
Oh,
It's still.
So I thought I used to love horror, and I actually haven't read. I don't know why I stopped reading it for a while. And then the scariest book I read lately was Coco's book. Freaked me out. Was not expecting it to go there. I was reading it at like 6 a.m, hiding in my bed. Not expecting that.
Nice.
I love like thrillers and suspense more than like straight up horror. I think like.
Yeah. I wasn't sure which one my book was. Like, I still can't decide if I think it's a thriller or a horror. What did you guys think?
It's both.
It's both, yeah.
Okay.
But yeah,
I would probably lean more towards thriller just because you didn't get like the horriest of horror. With an H, I can't say horror correctly, so that was not WH. That was just an H.
Yeah, I'm just a pansy then. I got scared. Yeah. I'm sorry. I really brain this. Anyway, what did I miss? Were we talking about anything fun while I was just going to go?
Cults.
Colts. Oh, Colts. We were going Colts. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
And that.
Yep. Yep. In New Zealand, right? It was in New Zealand.
Yeah, I need there's a documentary on Amazon Prime called Gloriaville, that I've been watching a lot of documentaries lately and reading up a lot about cults lately because of this idea that I want to pursue. And not that I want to start a cult, although maybe I do, but just kidding. But I watched one last night called The Source Family that was really interesting because I live in LA. And it's all about the 60s and 70s of this cult in LA that followed this guy called Father, and they moved into Hawaii. And it's just weird because when you watch all it, you kind of boil it down to like there's these certain things that occur in each one, and it is all about that control and the power, and seeing the leader as like North Korea, like the leader is God, and so you all inevitably follow that.
That documentary, I've seen it.
Yeah.
I never explored cults, really. It'd be a whole different side of the world to figure out.
Yeah, I feel like Handmaid's Tale is the inevitable conclusion of a fundamentalist cult, like as it takes over everything.
Yeah. Pretty. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm so. I don't think I've ever. No, I did read. I feel like I read the book a long time ago, but I've watched the series more recently. So,
unless it was a cult run by women, and then it would end very differently.
Like Audrey.
Yeah, you need to read The Parlor. Yeah.
That one's next month. I was like, no, we're reading The Parlor. Like, and then we'll figure out. Oh, that's the other thing is we need to figure out book club starting in February. Which I don't know who's all, if anybody joined on. I'm sure you'll watch this later. If you guys have any ideas that you want seen to happen in the group, let us know. We'll make it happen. We generally just like to hang out. We've been, you know what I want to do is a Hunger Games showing sometime after Christmas. Yeah, we're going to do a Hunger Games showing.
Nope.
We'll make a poll to see what times work best for everybody or something. Do we have any other fun things going on in the group before? I'm sorry. I really am. I'm like still picking like glue out of my fingers. I was building a cabinet door right. My kids melting out. It's just this. Yeah, we're here. But is there anything else going on? The anthology. We talked about that. Is there anything else you guys want to do since we're just hanging out talking? Is there anything you want to do in the group?
I like the idea of having like 2 members fight on top of a roof.
That's how we'll handle book club from now on.
Don't talk about book club. Oh man.
I think this is a good jumping off point for starting a podcast too, where we talk about dystopian works and bring in other authors and talk about their works. We talk about our works. We talk about what dystopia is in general.
A fluid, ever-changing conversation. I swear we'll never be able to pinpoint this because there's so many different interpretations of it. And reader interpretation is different for anything anyway. It's hard because like, is it a subgenre? Is it a singular genre? Is it this and that? And it's like we know what the basic foundation of dystopian is, and then that can be applied to anything. So
yeah,
it's an ongoing conversation. That'll make a good podcast, I think. Well, I think, and that was the other thing. Liz can actually strip the audio from this and send it to you, or she said it comes separate. So that's why I was like, oh, Liz has got it. Liz is amazing, and I thank you so much, like I said again, for like joining in and hanging out with us and setting this all up because I wouldn't have known what I was doing, and then it would have been really bad with the kid and everything on top of that.
You all did great. I could hear you the whole time. There was not really any issues at all. So perfect.
Thank you.
So here's a question: since we're all dystopian fans, like, what are some of your favorite like dystopian books that you've read, like other than your own books? Like, what are just some recs we can give group members if they're watching?
I'm a classic lit girl, so I actually read like Brave New World, 1984. You got The Anthem by Ayn Rand is one of my favorites too, and like, or I'm probably not even saying right either. I can spell it, but the Anthem's one of my favorites. What other ones? See, I guess Thomas More, but that was an essay. Oh, I like Utopia too, actually. But I'm just weird. So give us some more modern ones, like fun ones, not like made you read them.
One of my favorite is definitely Delirium. Lauren Oliver is one of my favorite authors. She's pretty much young adult. She dips into dystopian a bit. Delirium is probably her most dystopian, but that's probably one of my all-time favorites, other than Parable of the Sower and Parable of the Talents, which I just read this year. So they're still fresh on my mind.
I'm reading Skype and I'm really enjoying it. I haven't finished it yet, but so far it's really good. And I don't know if like the author was intending it for be a dystopia, but Watership Down was a really good one.
Yes.
From the perspective of rabbits. And it's surprisingly dark.
Yeah.
I want to see the Netflix. Apparently, they made a Netflix of Watership Down. I have yet to watch it.
Yeah, I watched it.
It's good.
It was all right. Yeah, it was all right.
I'm a classicist like Heather also. Like 1984, Fahrenheit 451 are two of my favorites that I would recommend. And also anything by Vonnegut where he writes in dystopian, like Cat's Cradle, Slapstick is my favorite book of all time.
Yeah. I'm a agree with Audrey about Delirium because I really just love her writing style. It's so poetic. Like when you read it, it's like poetry, even though it's like in a novel format. So I really enjoyed reading that because of her writing style. I'm once again gonna Unwind because I just really thought it was the cool thing that I liked about that, which isn't even related to the actual story, but in the book, he will take news articles from like current events or things that have happened in the world and put them before each chapter that are like real news articles to show you like, hey, this happened that relates to this story. And it was just interesting seeing like, hey, this could be realized in real life too. And I would say I would have to go for a classic, Fahrenheit 51. I just enjoyed that one. So yeah.
Catherine, what about you?
I know. I was like staring at her just sorry.
I mean, it's so cliche, but I am a giant Hunger Games fan. I know everybody rolls their eyes at me, but like that was when I first read that series. I read it all in like literally 24 hours, and that's kind of what encouraged me to start writing. And I had been following Jennifer Lawrence, like her career, because she's one of my favorite actresses, even before like she was mainstream. So like when she started doing that and like won the Oscar, like that almost like encouraged me to start like acting as well. So like I just feel like I have a lot of personal connections with that book because it pushed me to do so many things that I enjoy now.
Dude, I can't sit through a movie. I get too anxious. Like I have to get up and walk around. But I went and saw all 4 in theaters. And my butt stayed in the chair the whole time. Like I read all the books, multiple times. I love Hunger Games.
Since you're on Hunger Games, I'm just gonna ask. I'm curious what people thought of the prequel.
Oh, I didn't read that.
I haven't read it.
I've been back and forth, but generally when I read prequels, I hate them, and it makes me hate the whole series. And I'm too scared to.
I really enjoyed it.
It was a roller coaster, and I don't mean exciting roller coaster. I mean emotional attachment roller coaster.
Yeah, it was hard.
I think it's interesting that it's from Snow's perspective, though, like kind of the villain perspective. So I probably will eventually read it. But
I'm scared too. I'm like I don't like Snow, so I don't want to read it.
I've just been looking all over for a book from the villain's perspective, and it's especially such an unlikable villain. So I was really excited when that came out, and I found out what it was.
I'm actually reading a book. Oh, and one of the authors is going to join in the group this week and do a takeover. But I'm reading a memoir of Krs Mcintyre right now, and it's from the villain's perspective, and it is throwing me off. I mean, this one's horror too. Just look at me getting into horror all. Horror. Yeah, I can't even think. Hunger Games, Brain, Heather, here. I'm a better writer than I am a talker. So, oh, and then so I know that you have a book release coming this week too, Catherine. And then what I was going to ask, because I know when's Making coming out? Do we have a timeline yet? No. When's Making Eden coming out, Keisha?
Sorry, what?
When's Making Eden coming out?
Hopefully sometime next year. I'm honestly shooting for like next summer at this point, just because of how my life is looking right now. So it'll give me time to actually make sure it's how I want it to be, because right now it's a half-written story sitting on my computer. So yes, I need to finish that.
Well, I just got my first, I just saw it the other day, my first 1-star review, because they love the book, but they're really, really disappointed that I did not publish all 3 at the same time, and they find it unacceptable that they have to wait
My
for
gosh.
the series to come out.
Oh, that's
the thing. When you're an author, I have to remind myself, not everyone is gonna like it. just keep swimming.
That's petty.
He loved the story.
But that is very petty.
Great
Yeah.
reader, I was engaged, but I shouldn't have to wait.
Oh my God.
you cause that intense emotional reaction. Think of it as
I mean, coming from the ballet world, there's not much anybody can say that's going to offend me at this point. Like, I kind of laughed.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That sucks. Audrey, so, and then when's book 3 coming out for you?
So it's getting sent to the editor on January 1st. So I'm hoping it'll be out mid-March. So I haven't put an exact date on it yet. But I'm hoping somewhere around March. And that's because I finished it actually during NaNoWriMo, which for anyone who doesn't know stands for National Novel Writing Month, which was November. Which, by the way, Jared like blew through, and I hated being friends with him on there because he's like, "Oh, I reached 50K like 2 weeks before the end of the month," and I was like, "Wow, I hate you." But I decided to change the ending of my book, so I probably would have had it ready sooner, but I decided to not end it the way that I had originally planned. The characters just, they spoke to me differently once I got to that point. You know, my imaginary friends, like I like to call them. So.
It's like what is it? Fahrenheit 451. She talks to her relatives on the walls. You know, like the screens. Every time, like I don't know, it just always that like when we watch too much or we're on the screens too much, and she's like, my relatives, like they need me, and then I realized I do that with the characters too. I'm like, hold on, they need me right now. And then Jared, what's your timeline looking like for your next coming out? Do you have one or?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
I can't hear very well. It's like a weird feedback. My timeline for my prequels?
Yeah.
Okay. So I've got a prequel trilogy that I'm working on, and it's combined. It's going to be about the length of To Have or Have Not. So I'm going to edit all of them together and then release them one at a time, because it makes sense for them to be released separately, because they're the second one takes place like 15 years after the first one. The third one's 10 years after the next one. And so it'll probably be a rapid release, like 3 weeks or 2 weeks after each other. And I'm hoping like spring.
Okay.
I don't know, after Catherine's review, you might want to let them all out on the same day. I mean, apparently there's some really touchy people out there.
I mean, somebody should let every single publishing house and TV production company in the world know that.
Oh, I know, right? No, we can't even watch Netflix series. All out. That's what it is. Netflix is killing expectations. Reader.
Right.
Yeah, the binge.
Yeah.
The binge is horrible.
Yeah.
I like it, but I don't want others to like it.
Yes,
And
yes.
and Coco, do you have any aspirations to write any more books before you turn 18?
Yeah, I'm currently going through my first edit of a book I just recently drafted. It's a dark fantasy, and it's a lot longer than Crabtree Drive, so it's going to be different.
Is that one touching any dystopian, or is that one just straight dark fantasy?
Yeah, that one's just straight dark fantasy.
Yeah.
If you get into it really hard, you're like, oh, this is a little dystopian. I'm just like, oh, that's what makes you happy.
Oh, that's okay. We can't always be here.
Well, we can always find a way to slide dystopian into the genre, though. You can always twist it in.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're probably gonna let you guys go soon because we're keeping on pretty long. Is there anything you guys wanted to say before we take off? Is there anything to the group? I just wanted to wish everybody happy holidays. The whole group, all of you. Just like hope you guys celebrate, have fun. Can't wait to see what you come up with on the giveaway days or the takeover days. That'll be fun. I'm gonna play all the games every day. Do them after my kid goes to bed. Okay.
Happy holidays.
Yes, happy holidays. Everybody.
I'm very excited for the takeovers to, get to know all you guys a little bit better and really get that time solo with you to have all my questions answered, especially for the ones that I've read your books. I'm excited.
We're gonna hot seat it.
I've never done this before, so I have no idea what I'm doing. Pray for me.
Oh, yeah. Just follow along. I'm taking tomorrow, so I'll do the first one, and then my awesome wild card is taking Christmas Day too. I was like, oh, you're awesome. I love you. And
No worries.
blowing up. Okay, but yeah, so we'll just kind of follow along with whatever everybody else is doing. You'll see it's really easy. It's just do whatever you want to do for an hour in the group.
All right, guys, we're doing Zumba.
I'm down. Okay.
All right. Well, I will go ahead and I will wrap this up, and I will say again, as Heather said, happy holidays, everyone. And I will go ahead and end this broadcast. You've been live for 50 minutes, just so you know.
That long? I was like, oh, it took a while, but I wasn't sure.
No, I would have stopped you because I know what you and I talked about it being about an hour. So you've got, yeah. So, and Coco just cut out again. So I think that's a sign almost.
Oh,
I'm looking forward to following along. I'm just in the background. Obviously, I'm not a writer. I'm just in the background. I'm just one of the people who gets to watch all your posts. So I'll chime in every once in a while. But
Like I said, I'm so grateful that you took the time to do this. I'm so grateful for that.
yeah,
Thank you.
anytime. And I look forward to seeing all of reading all of your books and following along with what you do in the group. So thank you so much, and have a wonderful holiday.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.